Born in Jamaica in the parish of Hanover and the district of Ponside. I came here just turned 18 and went into nursing. In Jamaica, well, I can say I'm a country girl because I came from the country. It was very family orientated, very close. Each one looked after each other. Not just our parents that oversee us. We have auntie, uncles, and cousins. I'm like the baby of the family. My mom only have two of us, a elder brother 4 years older than me, so I'm the baby like. I came to England 1959, December the 30th. What did I say? The journey over to here, first of all, it was a very bad winter over here, so our plane was cancelled. When I arrived in this country, it was a very harsh winter. Our experience in England, it wasn't like that. I saw all these houses with chimney, and it was very dark, foggy, snow. So my idea of England wasn't like what we taught in school, paved with gold or something like that. It wasn't what we imagined. I felt very lonely because I was coming to my father. He lived in Crewe, so I was going in Crewe, Cheshire. And it so happened because of the delay for my plane journey, my father wasn't there to meet me. So I have to travel all the way from London, Euston on my own to Crewe on the train, and it was very frightening. As I mentioned before, when I came here, I was very lonely, missing my mom. I can remember I cried night and day to go back home. It was very frightening. I didn't like the place, especially in Crewe. There wasn't too much colored people there as well, you know. And the few that was there, they were mostly from Barbados. There wasn't much Jamaican and young. And being a young girl, as I said before, I was very frightening and then. And I turned to my dad and said, I want to go back home, which was very distressing for my dad. I went into nursing. I just did about 9 months. Then my husband, we are from the same district and we like go to school, the same school. And we went in friendship, and I got married in 1961. And I moved over to Wolverhampton, which Wolverhampton I had more colored people and more school friends that I went to school. More was living in Wolverhampton, so I felt more at home in Wolverhampton, for there were much more relatives over here and more people of my same age group where I could relate to. Kenneth is my 4th child. I had 3 other. I had Mark was my eldest child. Then I had a daughter, Angela, a 3rd son, Robert, and Kenneth is the 4th one. My eldest son died when he was 28. His name was Mark. Kenneth, I had Kenneth in 1968, the 29th of November, and unfortunately he was born with brain damage, which is cerebral palsy, which affected him very bad, because he's like paraplegic, he cannot do anything. He's depending on to do everything for him. He's having a bad day today because he suffered from hay fever. I said, I find in the 50s when we arrived here as young people, they were very helpful, and even in the hospital, you know, they were friendly. I can say that, you know, I mustn't, you know. But being as the generation what we grow up to respect everyone that in authority. That's how we grow. So I never really noticed any barriers there. I know that it was there, but our the people that I in contact with in workplace and generally where I live, you know, they were very friendly and helpful. I think I can see over the changes. The most things after gradually settling and having children, I think there's a lot of things you have to fight for. And I could see that, you know, but once you show that you ready to fight and demand your rights, you know, and having my children as well in the school, you have to show interest that you want your children to go far in school. You have to like attend parents teacher meeting and show that you are interested in your children education. If not, you find that they will left behind. So there is a lot of communication barrier. If you don't show interest and stand up for your children, you would have problem. You have to fight all the way for your children education.
Thank you, Mrs. Oates. All right.
Oh, you're welcome.
Mrs. Oates, you know, when you were pregnant with Kenny, you gave birth. Were you a nurse at the time?
Yes, not a qualified nurse. I was in training.
You found out Kenny's medical conditions. Can you tell me how you felt and if you felt that you were given enough information and enough help on how to deal with
No,
Kenny?
because from the minute I had Kenneth, I know that something went wrong. Something was wrong because at the delivery wasn't the same. Although I have a normal birth, you know, but when he born, I could see that he wasn't right, for he was blue as anything, and that's in terms lack of oxygen. Kenneth born at the beach, which was a maternity home. The next day, the pediatrician consultant came, and I know something was wrong, you know, and overheard the sister said to him, "Are you going to have a word with Mom?" And he said, "No, I'll wait until Kenneth come to the baby clinic." And so happened I went to the clinic, and he told me that my baby not going to be normal like the rest, you know. And during his growing up and having various assessments, they did assure me that he would walk. He would even help me with the washing up and things, but being as he have touch a spastic, and he will have spasm where he will washing up, I will have to prepare to buy a lot of cutlery because he will be smashing them or help, you know. So I did have that hope to know that he was going to walk. But gradually, it never took place, no.
Do you feel that if they'd told you the truth a lot sooner, that you'd have been able to seek further medical help? Or
Well, I think the felicity that here now, it wasn't like in the 60s, you know. I was still very naive, you know. So, as I said before, there wasn't a lot of explanation and reassure, you know. I can say that, you know, you were on your own, you know.
so how did you find, as Kenny got older, for say daycare and other facilities that might have been there, how did you gain access to those facilities?
Well, I must say, we have like, after he finished with like the normal district nurse, you know, and he went over to like the social worker that dealt, you know, and then he had a place at Huxley. I think he went there, if I'm correct, about when he was 3 years old. There again, it was just like tender loving care. There wasn't much motivation going for it. It wasn't in the system really. It was just loving care, you know, and just general things, just love. Kenneth never went in, I think, I can't remember exactly when the law passed that all handicapped children, don't care how severe handicapped they are, they should go to in the education system. Then he was went to Green Park until he was 19. He went there when he was 16, so he spent about 3 years, and I could saw great improvement on the education, for there was more motivation there and things like that. And, you know, I just wonder if he did have that, what he had in that last 3 years, he would much advance in his handicap.
So these facilities, did you have to seek them out yourself, or did you have a social worker who helped you to get a daycare place at Oxley? Or did you insist on these things for yourself?
I insist, you know, and it's a lot of history.